Does the parable of the 10 virgins talk about imminency? So let's just have a look here at the parable of the 10 virgins. So I wrote this all out so that I could write on it. So let's just go to Matthew chapter 25, verse 1 to 13. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. So they are going to meet the bridegroom, and we're talking about the doctrine of imminency. Some people may not know what that is. That's just simply the idea that Jesus can come to collect the body of Christ, his church, without any signs or wonders. He can come at any time. That's the doctrine of imminency. So again, then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps, went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish. They that were foolish took their lamps, and took no oil with them. So this is what makes them foolish, is they took no oil with them. So they had their lamps. Perhaps you could build a case saying that whatever they had in their lamps was what they had. Hard to tell, but it kind of looks that way. And the wise, right here, the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. So it looks like that the wise had extra oil with their lamps. So the foolish again took their lamps and took no oil with them. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps. While the bridegroom tarried, and this is what people think of just on a daily basis today, they're like, you know what? People have been saying that the Lord is coming for the last 2,000 years, which to God is like 2 days. But to us, it's 2,000 years. So we say, because he hasn't arrived for 2,000 years, that means, ergo, he is not coming. It's kind of a weird formula, but that's how they transcribe it, or prescribe. This is their prescription. They say, if Jesus hasn't come and people are saying he's coming anytime, doesn't that tell you that he's not coming? Because again, 2 days to 2,000 years to us is like 2 days to the Lord. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept. So they were waiting, because again, right here, the bridegroom, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. So their purpose was to meet the bridegroom, and they fell asleep because he tarried. The bridegroom tarried, and they all slumbered and then slept. So they're hanging out, and then they slept. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh. He's now coming. Go ye out to meet him. So now they get the call to go and meet him, because he's coming. He's coming. Then all those virgins, all 10, arose, because all 10 slept, all 10 had lamps, but 5 didn't have extra oil, and 5 did. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. So they're making their lamps ready by putting oil in their lamps. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil. So most likely talking about the vessels that they had oil, because that's how the wise virgins were filling up their lamps with the extra oil that they had. So they said, give us your oil. Like, give that to us. For our lamps are gone out. So it looks like that their lamps went out while they slept, while they slumbered. Their lamps went out. but the wise had extra oil. But the wise answered, saying, Not so, lest there not be enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves. So this is interesting that they said, no, if we give you our oil, we won't have enough for ourselves. Why? Because the bridegroom is coming, and they want to be ready for when he comes. So they trim their lamps, they put extra oil in, and we're still not sure 100% when the bridegroom is going to arrive, but the wise virgins were like, no, if you take our oil, there won't be enough for us and for you. So go buy some. Go to them that sell and buy for yourselves. And go over here. And while they went, this is the imminency part. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut. So 5 were ready, 5 were not ready. I think that's a fair statement. 5 were ready, 5 weren't. Why were the 5 ready? Because they had extra oil in their vessel. Why were the 5 foolish, not ready? Because they went out to go and buy, because they didn't have enough oil. So they went out to buy. Afterward came also the other virgins. So they bought oil. They came back saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. Now, I've heard people say, and that's actually not a bad argument, that they went out to buy. This is the time of when the Antichrist was looming around. Don't know how else to put it. But they went out to buy, and when they bought, they couldn't enter. So when you buy and sell the Antichrist, you take the mark of the beast, you basically forfeit any chance of being saved. Doesn't matter what you believe. You can say, you know what, I took the mark of the beast, but you know what, I'm now believing that this was a mistake. Well, that's too late, and that's another video. But I'm just saying, this is what some people have taught, that's what they went out to do, is they went out and bought and filled their oil. And it's kind of hard to prove it here. I think the biggest thing is to continue with the idea of imminency. Is they went away, nothing has changed. All 10 of them had oil in their lamps, but the difference here is 5 of them had extra oil and 5 didn't, and they left. And then they came back with oil, so they had oil. So it's not the oil necessarily, it's the timing. They left when they should have stayed. You can almost pose an argument saying, if they had stayed with the other 5, would they have got in? Because I don't know if that was the criteria to have oil versus being ready and waiting and watching for the bridegroom. Seems like that was the criteria, because the other virgins had oil, but they weren't allowed in. So you can say, oh, they had bad oil, or this kind of oil versus that kind of oil. The point is, they left. They weren't ready. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch. For ye know, now you know, look at this. This is what you know now. Neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. So Jesus is saying, watch. Why? Because you know that it's not going to be a day or an hour wherein the Son of Man cometh. I know it sounds kind of weird to say, but if you think about it for a second, he's telling you, you know that it's not going to be on the day or the hour. It's not going to be an exact day or an hour. because that's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for a day or an hour. You're watching. So there are post-tribbers that say Jesus can't come for 7 years. That tells me they're not watching. They're not watching. So if we're talking about imminency, why watch if you see the destruction coming upon the earth, the Antichrist having his way, pestilence, everything happening, and then the sun loses its light, the moon turns to darkness, the stars lose their light, there's nothing to see, it's total darkness. Then you see Jesus Christ with people that are coming from heaven with him. So how did those people get to heaven? Well, they were watching, and then Jesus came, got them, and they entered in. And he closed the door, and no one else can come in because they weren't watching. They weren't paying attention. So there you go. So if you got something out of this, feel free to subscribe. Feel free to leave a comment. And in the next one, we're going to talk a little bit more about stewardship. But let me know your thoughts. Do you think this makes the most sense that this is talking about imminency? Or do you think this is talking about after everything has happened? After everything is over? After all the judgments? After the trumpets? After the seals, the trumpets? The bowls of wrath? Do you think that's what this is talking about? Or do you think this is talking about something that perhaps is happening before? And don't forget, we also talked about the days of Noah as well. That sure looks like imminency as well. Thanks for watching. See you in another video.